Erev Shabbat Shalom. We're here on the eve of Yom HaShoah, leading into Shabbat Kedoshim, and next week we'll celebrate Yom HaZikaron and Yom Haatzmaut. Mark Yom HaZikaron and celebrate Yom Haatzmaut. And these are the 10 days that bookend, as it were. Whereas in the fall we have Asaret Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that speak about the individual's personal accountability and the individual's personal dreams for a future. These 10 days between Yom HaShoah to Yom Haatzmaut have been coined as a Asaret Yemei Todah, 10 days of appreciation, of gratitude. And I think oftentimes Yom HaShoah is taken in isolation. And here in Israel, the great blessing is that it's not in isolation. It's Me'shoah L'Tekuma. It's part of the broader story, part of the broader narrative. And the only way, I believe, the memory of the Shoah can continue to live and to resonate for us all is if we're able to see and experience it in a broader context. And I say that with absolute awe, reverence, and deference to the survivors who are still among us. But the reality is that these two events, separated just a few years from one another, are events that happen once in a millennium or 2 millennia. They're not events that happen even in every generation or every century. We are privileged to be living in the aftermath of these events. And as such, we have a special responsibility to focus on the transitions, on the ability to transition. The verses that speak perhaps most poignantly of transition in our liturgy, the verses from Kohelet, from Ecclesiastes chapter 3. You have the verses below you. L'chol zman ve'et l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim. There's a time for everything. And it gives a series of 14 pairs. A time to be born and a time to pass. A time, and then in the middle, the chiastic structure says, Et lifkot ve'et litzchok, et lisvod ve'et lirkod. A time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. And the classic commentators understand that the wisdom of Kohelet is not saying that life is all X or Y, all good or bad, but knowing how to modulate individually, collectively, and nationally. That's my blessing for us. May we feel deeply and bear witness to the loss as we enter into Yom HaShoah and understand this great sacrifice paid on Yom HaZikaron. Remember those who have made that ultimate sacrifice and those who survive, but with wounds, whether they be physical or psychological, but ultimately bring us to Eit Lirkod, a time to dance and to appreciate the gratitude that we are in fact here and we are in fact living a vision that the prophets already 2,500 years ago said, Hayinu k'cholmim, we were but like dreamers to imagine the return of the Jewish people to their land. That was said after 70 years of exile, so much more after 2,000 years of exile. We're privileged and paid dear, dear price to have this privilege, but we are in fact privileged to be living in the time of this blessed redemption. I wish you all, may we feel this week's Torah portion. It doesn't always work out, but this year works out. We read Parshat Kedoshim, the Parsha that speaks about holiness, and it says, Kedoshim to you, you will be holy, ki kadosh ani. May we in fact merit to live with a special awareness, with the awareness of Kedusha between these extremely poignant and special days of Yom HaShoah v'Hagvura, Yom HaZikaron l'Chalei Tzva Yisrael, and Yom Haatzmaut l'Medinat Yisrael, the day in which we mark the destruction and the bravery of those who survived and those who paid the ultimate price, the day of remembrance to the fallen soldiers and victims of terror, and ultimately the day in which we celebrate the rebirth and the independence and the ingathering of the exiles after 2,000 years. Shabbat Shalom, v'yamei Todah Samechem.